My name is Robin, and I am a behavior and communications specialist with over 20 years in the leadership and development industry. This has nothing to do with skill set. It has nothing to do with good or bad. There's no better result. And everything, nobody knows the how. That's just a life in the entrepreneurial world. Nobody knows the how. You just figure it out.
Want to say and what you have to say matters, but how you say it is what makes it matter to others.
We're there to support abuse survivors. 6 out of 20 at a college social impact fair. What does that say? It says we have work to do. We're going to figure out how we can work on this in our own way too. Nobody's going to judge you. Nobody's going to say you're doing something wrong. You're going to figure out how you can do it by getting out of your own way. So
it's not the goal to be the smartest person in the room. It's the goal to learn from the smartest people in the room.
At the end of the day, all humans want to feel like they matter. All humans have the same needs. Everybody likes to be valued, seen, and supported, but it's up to you to figure out how they receive that best. It's not the same.
That's our goal here, is we want to keep them in their genius. So we want them to win.
So knowing that about each other is what brings out the best in each other, and that's the whole goal.
How we respond in situations and how to use our strengths.
There are certain behavior styles that are analytical and problem solving and results driven that gravitate towards tech, startups, finance. With that skill set and strength, one of the challenges comes with that is vulnerability. They do not like to fail in public. They do not like to not have the answers. It's really hard to get vulnerable. Their motivators at work, one of the things that is finding mistakes. So that actually helps. They like to find mistakes.
Yeah.
Is that a line? Is that an okay because you're a member of the team and we got each other's back and this is what I'm really good at and you're totally qualified for your job and I have this extra eye. It's like the editor. You know, like everybody needs an editor. Or is it, I'm better than you, I found your mistake and I don't even know why you have this job in the first place. It's important to be the person you needed.
Yeah.
sometimes we think that we should treat others the way that we want to be treated, but in actuality, you've got to treat others the way that they want to be treated. So you really have to focus on their needs. And if you have that really great listener friend, are you a good listener? If you have a really outgoing friend that likes to do a lot of things, but that's not typically you, are you willing to go ahead and go on their adventures with them?
That play in though when you really want to build a culture of competition. So how do you break it down to where the culture is a foundation of trust, but you really do prioritize and put emphasis in that competition?
Watched a marathon or a triathlon or a 5K. The ones that finish last, that crawl past that finish line, hop, wobble over that finish line, are just as celebrated as the person that finished first. I've also never been a witness to a race where the person that crosses the finish line turns around and is like, suckers, you all suck, I am awesome. No, they don't. Because they know how hard it is to get where they get, and their competition is with themselves.
They're dependent on us, but in times of crisis and conflict, we often go back to our natural behavior styles.
Sure.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think so somebody like me who's naturally rebellious, who naturally wants to be in charge, and I want my ideas heard, and you're raised in a time and place and told that you're supposed to be meek and mild and humble, then when that doesn't come natural to you, you think there's something wrong with you. Or women who are naturally analytical and direct have a hard time being vulnerable. So they have a harder time making female friendships. So that they internalize is that's their problem. Like it's got to be me.
It's got to be me.
When it's really
why can't I behave like that? The expectations.
Right. Why can't I have more female friends? Why do I relate more with men? And the same scenario happens to men who are naturally emotionally reactive to things. Like we cannot help emotions. Emotions aren't bad or good, but men growing up that feel emotions are told not to feel those emotions, to suck it up, to don't be a crybaby, to man up. And so they are taught that that's not a good thing. And so then they go into leadership roles, suppressing that natural emotional ties. And so they think there's something wrong with them too. So I love it when I get to go into teams and partnerships and really have the aha moments of like, oh, I am normal. Like it's not just me struggling with all of these fears and barriers we put on ourselves.
So comparison to others is a real factor in our mindset. And if we can't look at other people's successes and wins as inspiration or motivation, that's where it becomes toxic and dangerous. It's really important to realize that other people's successes, their achievements, have nothing to do with your ability for your successes or your achievements. Interesting is if I ask you what daddy issues mean, you all know what that means, right? Somebody who was not fulfilled, was not supported by the father in their life. If you think of yourself as a CEO, as the father figure of your family, and make sure that you're giving your team and your family the support, the validation, and the encouragement they need so that they don't have daddy issues. Dominant personality styles struggle with vulnerability. A small practice in vulnerability is giving compliments. If you see it, say it. It's important to you to become more vulnerable. Give more compliments, give more positive feedback so people appreciate the assertiveness and don't label you as aggressive. That is what effective communication does. It helps you to assess the comfort level, the value system of somebody else, the communication style, so that you become a comfortable person to be around, so that they feel safe and they feel heard and they feel validated. That's the main goal of effective communication, not to have to change yourself, but to be able to use your strengths, your talents to make others bring out the best in themselves too.